Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something we all struggle with, the idea of choosing yourself first. We're constantly told that giving is noble, right? But what happens when giving goes just a little too far? Well, we're going to unpack the psychology of burnout through a pretty fascinating story about a little yellow bird named Chintu.
So let's jump right into the big question here. Is extreme self-sacrifice actually a virtue? Think about it. Society really has this tendency to completely romanticize the person who gives until it hurts, don't they? We applaud that colleague who stays up all night working, or that friend who drops literally everything to put out someone else's fire, even when it completely derails their own life. But I want you to hold on to this thought as we go through today's story. Is sacrificing our own needs for others truly a good thing? Or is it just a fast track to destroying ourselves?
To really get a handle on this, let's look at our protagonist Chintu. He's this small bird with feathers as bright yellow as the morning sun. Now, Chintu was the ultimate people pleaser of his community. Every single day, from sunrise to sunset, this guy was out there running errands. He's helping the old owl with heavy lifting. He's acting as a personal water delivery service for the rabbits. He's offering emotional support to sad squirrels. And, get this, doing logistics for the busy ants, which, let's be real, sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare. And hey, everyone loved Chintu. They praised him constantly. But here's the critical, flashing red light. No one ever actually asked if Chintu was happy, and no one ever stopped to help him. And there's a serious dark side to being the perfect helper. Chintu had a fatal flaw. He consistently prioritized the urgent demands of his friends over his own basic, baseline survival needs. We're talking personal nutrition, rest, shelter. His own nest was literally falling apart. It was full of holes, letting the freezing cold rain soak his bed. And what did he tell himself? I'll fix my nest later. First, I've got to help my friends. Man, how many times have we told ourselves that exact same lie? I'll eat later, I'll sleep later, I'll do with my own stuff, right after I handle this one last favor.
The thing is, burnout doesn't just happen overnight. It's kind of this gradual, insidious process. Days passed, and Chintu just ignored his own painful hunger pangs so he could find worms for the baby sparrows. Then weeks passed, and he pushed through absolute bone-deep exhaustion to track down a lost rabbit. And then months passed, and the physical and mental toll of all this extreme self-sacrifice became visible. His beautiful, bright yellow feathers, which were basically his life force, his energy, became dull and gray. He couldn't fly as fast. He couldn't sing as sweetly. He was literally draining his own life to fuel everyone else's.
Which inevitably leads us to the breaking point, the winter crisis. A freezing cold morning arrives, and Chintu, he simply cannot get up. He is too sick, way too weak, and completely devoid of any strength. He's just lying there in that broken nest he never took the time to fix, shivering in the freezing wind. But honestly, the most devastating part of this whole story is what happens next. He calls out for help, and nobody comes. The owl is sleeping, the rabbits are out playing. For 3 whole days, the bird who sacrificed everything for his community is completely ignored and left completely alone. It's a brutal reality check, showing that endless giving without self-preservation isn't just unhealthy, it is entirely unsustainable.
Fortunately, right when things look bleakest, the narrative shifts. Enter the mentor. On that 3rd day, an old, wise turtle happens to be walking by and hears Chintu's weak cries. The turtle climbs up, and he is just absolutely shocked by what he finds. This isn't the bright yellow bird of legend. It's a gray, sick, forgotten creature. Now, the turtle doesn't just intervene physically by bringing him warm leaves and food. Though he does do that, he arrives to impart a massive paradigm shift. He listens to Chintu explain how he forgot to eat and rest because he was so busy helping everyone else. And then, the turtle drops a piece of wisdom that changes absolutely everything.
He looks at him and says, "You cannot pour from an empty cup." I want you to really let that sink in for a second. It's a phrase we've probably all heard a million times. But seeing it applied to the stark reality of Chintu's near-death experience, it gives it so much incredible weight. The turtle tells him, you have a good heart, but you forgot the single most important thing. You forgot about yourself. You simply cannot give water to others if your own pitcher is bone dry. You can't make others happy if you're physically broken and exhausted. Self-care is the absolute prerequisite for genuine, sustainable kindness.
The turtle shares another brilliant metaphor to really drive this home. Think of yourself as a lamp. Your purpose in life might very well be to provide light and warmth to the people around you, right? But how does a lamp actually work? If you want to give light, you have to actively protect and refuel your own flame. If you neglect that fuel and you let your own flame die out, well, you're left in the dark. And suddenly, you are completely incapable of helping anyone else. Maintaining your flame is not some selfish luxury, it is the fundamental mechanic of being able to shine at all.
And that actually brings us to a critical reevaluation of a very loaded word, selfishness. If you're a chronic people pleaser, setting a boundary feels incredibly, deeply selfish. But choosing yourself first doesn't mean you don't care about others. Not at all. It means you are taking deliberate care of your own baseline needs, your health, and your stability, specifically so that you actually have the strength and capacity to take care of others in the long run. We are totally flipping the script here. Self-abandonment isn't heroic, and self-preservation isn't selfish. It's strategic, and it's absolutely necessary.
So, how do we actually build this into real-world action? How do we apply the turtle's wisdom? Through healthy boundaries. Once Chintu recovered, he put some really specific practical steps into place. Number 1, eat your own breakfast first. Number 2, fix your own nest before you go trying to solve someone else's housing crisis. Number 3, rest when you're tired. And number 4, which is honestly probably the hardest of all, say no when you're too weak or too busy. And you know what's amazing about this story? When Chintu first started saying no, the other animals got mad. They totally pushed back, but Chintu held firm. He just explained, look, if I get sick again, I can't help anyone.
And the results of holding those boundaries? They absolutely speak for themselves. The transformation is striking. Before he set these boundaries, Chintu was sick, his feathers were a dull gray, and he was physically unable to be of service to anyone in that forest. But after establishing boundaries, he flourished. His bright yellow feathers came back. His wings grew strong, his songs became sweet again. By prioritizing his own survival, he didn't become a worse friend, he became a drastically better one. He was finally able to help his community with real, genuine energy and joy instead of just running on the fumes of resentment and pure exhaustion. But the impact of Chintu's boundary setting didn't stop with him. We actually see this massive ripple effect spread throughout the entire ecosystem. When Chintu stopped doing absolutely everything for everyone, it kind of forced the other animals to step up. They realized they'd been taking advantage of him, and guess what? They learned to start taking care of themselves first, too. By establishing his own personal stability, Chintu inadvertently taught the whole forest how to be resilient, self-sufficient, and mutually supportive. The entire community became stronger simply because one little bird decided to stop being a martyr.
Ultimately, the core lesson here is so simple but absolutely profound. Choose yourself first. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you definitely cannot give what you do not have. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on today. Take a hard look at your own life, your schedule, your relationships. What specific boundary do you need to set right now, today, to stop your flame from dying out and to finally fill your own cup? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible concept. Take care of yourselves out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.